Practice 9-6, completing the square. So in the last chapter, we talked about how certain trinomials can be factored to become perfect squares. So if we know what a is and we know what 2ab is, in order to find what b squared is, we can just divide this number by the value of a and 2 in order to find b. That way we can turn this into a perfect square, a plus b squared. So let's take a look at number 1. We have x squared minus 14x plus n. So we want n to be b squared, so we can turn this into a perfect square trinomial. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this middle term by 2x. So 14x divided by 2x is negative 7. And if we square that, we get n. So negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. So for number 1, n equals 49. For number 4, once again, we want to find b squared. So we're going to divide this middle term by 2x, since we know that a is x. Okay, so the x's cancel out, and negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So if we square this, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So that means n equals 25. And that's the answer for number 4. So for number 7, we want to solve for x by completing the square. So what we're going to do is we're going to find b squared, and we're going to add that to both sides. So we're going to divide this by 2x, so that means b equals negative 3. So we want to square this and add it to both sides. So negative 3 squared is 9, so that means instead of n, we are going to add 9 to both sides. Okay, so we have x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 10 plus 9, which is 19. Now we want to turn the left side into a square. Well, this is already a perfect square trinomial, but we want to factor it to be a perfect square. So we're going to take the square root of the first term and the square root of the last term, and we're going to say x minus square root of 9, which is 3. So x minus 3 squared equals 19. Now in order to undo this square, we want to find the square root of both sides. Okay, so this cancels this out, so all that we're going to be left with is the inside part. So x minus 3 equals the square root of 19. So you can turn this into a decimal by using your calculator. So we're going to say square root of 19, and that is 4.36. But it could also be negative, so this is positive or negative 4.36. So we're going to say x minus 3 equals positive 4.36, or x minus 3 equals negative 4.36. And I ran out of room, so let's take care of this one first. So we are going to add 3 to both sides. So x equals 7.36. Now we want to say x minus 3 equals negative 4.36. So once again, we're going to add 3 to both sides, but now we have negative 4 plus 3, so x equals negative 1.36. So this is your final answer, x equals negative 1.36 or positive 7.36. Let's take a look at number 10. So we already have a number over here, but we want to make sure that this is a perfect square trinomial on the left side. So first we're going to bring this over to the other side of the equal sign. So we have x squared minus 8x, and we're going to leave a blank for whatever b squared is, equals 0 plus 4, which is 4, and we're going to eventually add b squared to this. So we're going to take a look at this middle term, and we're going to divide negative 8 by 2. So that equals 4, and 4 squared is 16. So what that means is we're adding 16 to both sides. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 4 plus 16, which is 20. Now we want to turn the left side into our factors. So we're going to make our parentheses, and we're going to say the square root of x squared minus the square root of 16. So that's x minus 4. So x minus 4 squared equals 20. Now we want to find the square root of both sides. So this square root sign is going to cancel out this square. So all that we're going to be left with on the left side is what's on the inside of the parentheses. So we have x minus 4 equals positive or negative square root of 20, which is 4.47. So we're going to have two different equations. We're going to say x minus 4 equals positive 4.47, or x minus 4 equals negative 4.47. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. So x equals 8.47, or x equals, let's see, negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so that's 0.47, or negative 0.47. And these are our final answers. X equals 8.47, or negative 0.47. Number 13, we have x squared minus 7x, and what it wants us to do is add a term to each side to, number 13, maybe I didn't finish writing this. Oh, it equals 0. So we want to add a term to each side to solve for x. So we're going to add b squared. So negative 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. And if we square this, it is going to be 12.25. So we're adding 12.25 to both sides. So we have x squared minus 7x plus 12.25 equals 12.75. Now we want to factor the left side. So we're saying x minus 3.5 squared, because we're taking the square root of this, minus the square root of this, equals the square root of 12.75, or just 12.75, and then we're going to square root it. So this cancels this out, so we have x minus 3.5 equals positive or negative 3.5, because that's the square root of 12.75. So we're going to solve for each of these separately. So we have x minus 3.5 equals 3.5, or x minus 3.5 equals negative 3.5. So we're going to add 3.5 to both sides. So let's see, that means x equals 7, or we're going to add 3.5 to negative 3.5, and x equals 0. So x equals 7 or 0, and this is your final answer. Number 16, x squared plus 2x equals 15. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this by 2 and square it. So we are going to be adding 1 to both sides. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 15 plus 1, which is 16. Now we're going to factor our left side. So we have x plus 1 squared equals 16. And then we want to find the square root of both sides. So this square root sign cancels out the square, so we're just left on the left side with whatever's on the inside of the parentheses. So we have x plus 1 equals the square root of 16, which is positive or negative 4. So we're going to solve for each of these separately. So we have x plus 1 equals 4, or x plus 1 equals negative 4. So on the left side, we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So x equals 3. And on the right side, we are also subtracting 1 from both sides. But instead of having 4 minus 1, we have negative 4 minus 1, which is negative 5. So x equals 3, or negative 5. and this is our answer. Number 19, x squared minus 2x equals 120. So we are going to divide this by 2 and then square it. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So we are adding 1 to both sides. So x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 121. Now we want to factor. So we have x minus 1 squared equals 121. Now we're going to find the square root of both sides. So this cancels this out, and x minus 1 equals positive or negative square root of 121, which is 11. So we're going to solve for these separately. So we have x minus 1 equals 11, or x minus 1 equals negative 11. So to get rid of this negative 1, we're going to add 1 to both sides. So x equals 12. Or if we add 1 to negative 11, we have x equals negative 10. So these are your answers for this problem, x equals 12 or negative 10. Number 22, 2x squared plus 4x equals 8, and it's asking what term do you need to add to each side to complete the square. So first we want to simplify this because we can't find the square root of 2. There is no such number. So we're going to divide all of these terms by 2. So we have x squared plus 2x equals 4. So now we want to figure out what we need to add to both sides to make this side a perfect square trinomial. So we're going to divide this 2 by 2, and that equals 1, and 1 squared is 1. So this is our answer. We are going to be adding 1 to both sides. And that is it for practice 9-6.